Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aleksander Kauch. I am Senior Engineering Lead in 11-Bit Studios, and with the help of my friend Aleksandra Wysocka, our Quality Assurance Lead, would like to talk with you about quality assurance and how we do things related to quality assurance in 11-Bit Studios. A little bit of history of me. I've been working in 11-bit studios for about 10 years now. I've been working on almost every 11-bit studios title, starting with Anomaly series through This War of Mine and then Frostpunk when Ola joined the team as a quality assurance lead. And right now I have the role of quality assurance supervisor in our new game Frostpunk 2. Uh, Today, I would like to present you how we approach quality assurance in 11-bit studios, how we learned from our mistake, how we defined the role of quality assurance in the team, the skills required the skills we value in quality assurance in our team, and how do our quality assurance operate. And probably I'll be saying quality assurance quite a lot in this presentation. So let's start with the mistakes we've made in the past. And by the past, I mean the anomaly times, this war of mine, and the beginning of Frostpunk production, because the change came during Frostpunk. So, first of all, quality assurance in our early projects was not present uh, in the early stages. So during pre-production, during prototyping, there was almost no QA in the team. Uh, and after that, during the production phase, the quality assurance team was very limited to a few people because we thought that we make smaller games and we don't need that much QA. This proved to be wrong because during the end of this War of Mine production, especially, we needed to get some more people to test the game. So we introduced freshmen into the project, and they started testing a completed game but not polished yet. And of course, they entered the workflow, which they didn't know. They were new people in the team. So the problem with no quality assurance in the early phase of the project is that later the QA is not familiar with the game. They don't know the game, they don't really understand why some decisions were made, why some features are designed the way they are, and they tend to uh, mistake bugs for features, and they tended to create a lot of noise because of that. And those were people that worked in 11-bit studios, but on other projects than the ones that I've been working on. They were just moved to our project to help with testing. And the another problem with QA entering late in the project is that in the minds of the team there is no QA, so they do not know how to work with them. They are not aware of their existence because in the early phases there were none, so they had to cope with testing by themselves. And then when the quality assurance team fully joined, the mindset didn't change. People were not able to fluently work with the team. And we hired new people in the project late in the project, like in the polishing phase. So they had little to none knowledge of the game. It was a new game for them. They didn't understand core game features, core idea of the game. They did not understand how we work, what is the production process, what are the workflows. They tended to create a lot of noise. So false positives, false negatives, some bugs slipped, some features, some issues were submitted as critical when they were minor, and the minor features were omitted. So there was a lot of noise, and the perception of quality assurance team in the rest of the team was that it is a disturbance. It was not perceived as a added value to the project. It was perceived as a problem because when a developer gets a minor bug reported as critical, he is out of the flow and he's basically angry that it was reported that way. The team didn't know new people, and the new people didn't know them. They had no involvement, no feeling as being part of the team, and I mean both the newly hired and our own QA team that was not present during the whole project. And this resulted in very low morale in QA team, and their efficiency went straight down. So there was a problem, and we needed to address it somehow. And when the communication with QA team is bad, then the whole project falls apart because QA is in the center of game development. QA needs to communicate with almost every team responsible for the project. And when there is a problem with communicating with them, when there is a problem with the mindset that the development team has regarding QA, then something is wrong. And it went very wrong during the Swarmine production. So during Frostpunk, we've decided to change things. And we have started with defining the basics. So, what is the purpose of quality assurance in the project? What do we expect them to do? And what is the role of a quality assurance specialist? So, we came to conclusion that quality assurance main responsibilities are to achieve and maintain quality standards of the game and tools, so that the game meets our own quality standards as 11-bit studios game. They need to cooperate with the rest of the team to locate and properly report issues, and they need to design the processes and tools needed to fulfill those quality requirements. We have divided those responsibilities and those roles into two categories: quality control and quality improvement. By quality control, it is, of course, based on software development, but we simplified that division because usually software projects are much bigger and longer than our game. Currently, we have about 70 people just to focus the attention. So quality control is ensuring that the game meets our quality standards. So this is finding problems within the game that are just quality related, bugs basically. So the main thing in quality control is locating and resolving quality issues, bugs. So it is ordinary day-to-day testing and properly reporting bugs with reproduction steps, with proper description, with the occurrence, the times when it occurred, the frequency of this occurrence. Then there is overseeing the lifetime of the bug. So quality assurance specialists need to report the bug, get it to a proper developer that can handle the bug, and then receive the fixed version and check if the bug is fixed or not. And of course, quality control also includes balance issues and readability problems. So, problems that are not really bugs, but they are perceived by the players as a bug. Another thing is providing confidence in the quality assurance team for the rest of the team. This is very hard to achieve because it's based on trust, and trust is built on day to day work. So if the quality assurance is trustworthy, if milestone after milestone everything is fine in their part, then the confidence rises. And with the confidence, the rest of the team is sure that when something passes the quality tests, then it is a good product, it is a finished game. Noise and lack of this understanding how the game works does not help with reaching trust. It is working the opposite. So, long story short, less fuck ups, more trust in quality and confidence in quality assurance team. Last thing in quality control is expertise on priority and severity. QA team needs to set the initial severity and priority of a bug that they report of the issue. Uh, it is not the final priority because the rest of the team can make a decision that it is not that important, but still the expertise of QA specialists is to pinpoint that this is a problem for them and how big of a problem it is for their perception. They should focus, doing that, they should focus on the influence on the overall player's experience. So, if the bug is a minor bug, but it is very annoying for the player, then the initial severity should be very high and priority probably also. This, of course, requires experience and trust that I mentioned earlier. If the rest of the development team does not trust quality assurance, then they will just ignore their initial priority, they will ignore their expertise. But the other way around, they will consider it as a strong hint, strong advice from the quality assurance team. And during the last part of the project, QA team used to go through the release process, go through stores, platforms, etc., etc. Right now, we've got release manager and release management team, but still, this knowledge about the release process and how do certain platforms, certain stores work is crucial to properly test the game when the game is live or when the game is in some kind of sandbox environment. So this is also the responsibility of quality assurance team. And just before the game releases, we tend to organize focus tests. So they are also organized by and conducted by our QA team. Quality improvement, the second part of the QA's responsibilities, is making the game itself and the development process better. So it is directly connected to providing constant feedback. So when the feature is introduced and developed, they should test it, they should play with it, and provide the feedback for the rest of the team. This helps the rest of the team to properly understand what might be the problem with the feature. This also helps QA team to get to know people, to get to know the feature they are working on, to understand it. Giving the feedback, it is crucial to keep the freshman point of view. So, if a new to play the game as a new player would perceive it, this helps with feedbacking readability of the game and understanding of by the player of the mechanics of the game. This player perspective is also important part of quality improvement. Design and art perceive the work as their work. This creates a sunk cost fallacy often. So When a person is involved in the feature and in their work, then if it happens to be faulty, if it happens to be wrong or not fitting into the game, there is a sunk cost fallacy that tells I've involved a lot of work in that. I cannot abandon it. And from the QA perspective, from the player's perspective, there is no such fallacy. It is just a feature for them. They didn't do it. So they have the most outside point of view in the team. They just they perceive the game as it is, not as a part of their work, their time, their involvement. They are involved, but you know what I mean. Quality improvement also means that QA specialists need to gather knowledge about industry standard and the game itself. So they should play similar other games. And they should understand the core concept of the game, the key points, selling points of the game, and the overall feeling, the atmosphere that the game is trying to present the players. They should also know about target platforms, how they operate, and what are the customs of the platforms. And of course, this also involves understanding how the game development process works and what are the phases and what is needed in each of the phase. I'll talk about it during the skills part of the presentation. Quality improvement is also improving the process. So the quality assurance team need to maintain test procedures and introduce new test procedures. They should, of course, create checklists, test plans, test cases, etc., etc. But they should actively seek the opportunity to make their life easier. So they should request debug options or they should request features that would allow them to implement their own debug options. They should cooperate with programmers when some automatization is needed. And they should also ensure that their own tools, their own procedures are up to date with ever changing environment of game development. So, simply put, quality control is covering the game with tests, report bugs relevant to the phase of the project, and build trust in quality assurance team. Quality improvement, on the other hand, is making testing as smooth as possible, the work the best it can be, and ensure that the game is the one you would like to play. So, if there is a problem with that, QA's job is to report it. So, with the quality assurance role defined, we can move to the skills that we are looking and expecting from the team. The main skill or the main value in every developer in 11-bit studios is something we call ownership. Ownership applies to every domain, every team member of 11-bit, and it strongly affects on how do we look on certain roles in the project. It of course scales with developer skills, but at its core is an attitude that is oriented to the goal of the project. And it consists of several elements. First of all, awareness. One should know what is the goal and why are you pursuing this goal. What is the purpose of what you're doing? You need to also know how to reach the goal. So you, as a specialist, need to know what you have to do to reach the goal. And if you don't know that, if you have any doubts, you should gather the knowledge from the rest of the team or from outside world on how to reach the goal. You must be in control. You must act, talk and listen to your teammates, find solutions to the problems that occur during the process. You should also anticipate what you need and what is not needed anymore. So focus only on those things that you need to achieve the goal that is currently presented for you. And manage your process. Be responsible for what you're doing, properly estimate, be in control of what you're doing, having also the goal in mind, because everything considering ownership and those kind of attitude is very goal oriented. Get things done. Commit to what you're doing, be responsible for this work, and be ready to present it to the rest of the team so that they know what you're doing and they are able to communicate with you on your work. Push forward. When something is going to be done, know when it will finish and how it affects your work, and what are the obstacles, what obstacles do you meet along the way, and how to cope with them, how to remove them. Communicate your problems, be goal oriented, and get things done. You should also use your common sense. So ask even yourself why are you doing something and how it contributes to the goal. Always be questioning things that seem to you as unnecessary, and be sure that you understand why they are needed in the project or make a change. So in QA's team, ownership and the goal of this attitude is to reach the required quality level of the finished game. That is the highest level goal that needs to be achieved by the QA team. And of course, there are some goals, minor goals along the way. So overall milestone goals. So what the milestone is going to be, what it is going to represent, what is the audience for the milestone, is it for the some event or for the board or for game directors, etc., etc. Features quality goals are lower. They are like sprint goals. They are the things that a certain feature must implement, must represent, must add to the game. Then there are task goals and purposes of what you're doing day to day. So why am I doing this task? What should I achieve by doing it? And last but not least, there are personal goals. So why am I working here? Why do I do what I do? Do I know what to do next? Do I know how to improve the project by myself? And your own personal day-to-day goals or even higher perspective goals. Awareness in QA team is understanding the role of quality assurance in the project. Every QA specialist needs to inherit a certain mindset and know what is expected of the team. They should also understand what is the goal of the current milestone, what is the milestone for, what are we trying to achieve with this milestone, and to be oriented on creating it. It should be very much inherited in the team. What is the goal? They should be aware of the outside world. So gathering knowledge about the games and their development process, about the industry, and about what we love to do, playing games, playing thankfully knowing why I like something or why I don't like something, what are the industry standards and trends currently. A big part of that is curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat, but here it is very important to explore the medium that you're working on. Control. Control in QA is mostly related with reliable estimation of tasks. I am fully aware that the game can be tested forever, and in most games, there will still be bugs. But estimation of tests, estimation of core checks is very important and builds trust in the team if it's estimated properly. So, picking the most important tasks that contribute to the goal is very important. So, I know that it might be interesting to pursue a bug that occurred once, and we don't know how to replicate it. And pursuing it might be interesting, might be a challenge. But if there is a lot of other checks that need to be done, then this pursuit need to be postponed or even cancelled because there are more important things to do. And with the goal in mind, quality assurance team should know what is the focus currently, and they shouldn't get distracted. They should control their own process. They should also question the process, the tools, and their workflow, seeking improvements. So if something is not working, if quality assurance team is afraid that what they are doing is not contributing to the project, is stupid, then they should always question it and try to find a way to improve the process and do more focused, more contributing tasks. Getting things done. It involves overseeing the bug or task during its whole lifetime. So, from the start, properly reporting it, then seeing that proper developer is working on it, asking how it goes, and then resolving it if it is finished. They should monitor the obstacles and seek solutions to problems, trying to improve the process once more, but also informing that there is a problem, so the rest of the team knows that something won't be done on time, for example, and they should identify the needs and communicate them to the rest of the team. If there is a problem that a certain debug feature, a certain automatization, a certain menu option is not present, it should be identified by the team and requested as a valid request to improve the process. In getting things done, also a wider perspective is needed. Is there something itching at the back of your head? Is there some problem that you feel that something is wrong here? Report it, consult it. If you have a problem, if you think that the particular tasks that you're doing aren't together fulfilling the goal, because the goal is more than some of its parts, then communicate it and try to make the tasks, the particular test cases, a full test. Have an overview of the game, the feature, and treat it as a whole piece, not just a list of tasks to do. Ownership scales with seniority level. So, junior owns tasks and works efficiently with the help from someone more experienced. Specialist or regular owns simple topics like features and is self-sustained, is able to work on his own. Senior owns bigger topics like whole modding part of the game. A senior also is responsible for mentoring and can lead a small team. Expert owns big picture, for example, the whole game, or some research topic, or some improvement topic. The experts lead the way to change something, and in our organization, expert path and leadership path are separate. So expert is more focused on the hard skills, on the like research and improvement seeking, and lead is responsible for leading the team. We also value other skills in quality assurance. First of all, communications. I can't emphasize enough how it is important, because QA communicates every day with every other domain. They are the most communicating part of the project, maybe aside of production or management. To properly communicate, you need to know the game development vocabulary. What is the texture? What is a function? What is a model? Without this vocabulary, you won't be able to properly report bugs. You won't be able to understand what people are trying to say to you and how to improve your work and do your work the best you can. It is not required to know it beforehand, but gathering this knowledge, asking people around, is something we value very, very much. Our QA team also need to know the tools. The editor, for example, our past projects were made on our custom tech liquid engine. Right now we are using Unreal, so it is simpler to learn the tools beforehand. They should be able to change something in game configuration or game files. So they should know how the assets are organized and what is used for what purpose. And last but not least, they should understand what the game log says. So if the game log is filled with errors and you're still testing, then you're basically probably just wasting your time, because something went wrong way easier. And QA team need to be able to read that log, and they are also responsible for keeping it clean. So if there's something not clean, or if there is usually a lot of garbage in the logs, and if it is a problem with if it creates a problem with testing, the QA team responsibility is to get to the one who made that mess and try to clean it, as the output log is a tool for QA team to work. They should also have some knowledge, some understanding and interest in other domains like art, programming, etc., etc. They should understand how the rest of the team operates, what certain domains, what are their process, their workflows, and we also encourage QA specialists to seek specializations. So if you're interested in art, maybe art QA is something for you. Maybe you can find problems with displays, with effects that are in the game. Are they properly rendered? If you're interested in programming, maybe scripting automated tests would be your way, helping programmers in creating automated environment. If you're interested in design, maybe something more technical, improving the quality of the tools the designers are using. So the curiosity and interest in the whole development process is something that we value, and I'm very much aware that some people treat quality assurance as an entry point to the industry, and then they move to be programmers or designers. There's nothing wrong with that, but maybe with the specialized quality assurance, people would stay in as testers for a longer time, and they would fulfill their expectations and goals. We also require a lot of hard and soft skills that you probably all know about, like knowledge of the genres, platforms, familiarity with game development process, perception, curiosity, attention to details, and so on. It can be found in almost every work offer out there. So we are not that special in those kind of skills required. So, how does the daily work looks like? We work in Scrum. Yeah, we work in Scrum. Everyone now works in Scrum. We've started using Scrum in the end of Frostpunk development during the DLC's development, and we started with Scrum by the book. So we did everything like it was presented in Scrum Bible, but then we introduced slight changes to suit our needs and to make the process more approachable for us. We didn't change that much. It is not any kind of Scrum hybrid or something. It is still a Scrum, but we got rid of some rituals that were just a disturbance. Our Scrum is very goal oriented. We avoid doing Scrum for Scrum's sake. So the goal here is to make a game and not meet every single sprint goals, because the particular sprint goals together won't necessarily create a great game, and always this goal is on top of any velocity, any estimations. We are making games, and Scrum is just a tool. Aside from that, we have some teams that operate with Kanban, like asset creators. They do not need Scrum. They just, in some cases, need to create assets, and Kanban is much better with that. We don't treat Scrum as a value on its own. We don't want to honor the Scrum and to have a religious Scrum. It's just a tool, a way of working that is suitable for us. So once again, we're not doing Scrum for Scrum's sake. Our Scrum teams are interdisciplinary. They consist of QA specialists, programmers, designers, art, etc., etc. Their composition is based on the particular team's goal. So if the team is going to create a new mechanic, then probably most of the team would be designers, maybe some programmers, and of course QA specialists, etc., etc. And the team has the ownership of the feature, ownership understood as I mentioned earlier. Sprints last 2 weeks, and after each sprint there is a collective review and presentation of all Scrum teams. Our Scrum teams are like 6 to 8 people, so during this review and presentation all the teams gather and present what they've done. It really helps with understanding what other people are doing, what people that I don't work with on daily basis, what is their role and how they contribute to the project. So what about QA? QA takes part in all the process, so they join Scrum teams early, so they are there when there is a new idea, and starting from the idea to the review, they are in the process. They gather knowledge about the game, they understand why some decisions were made, and they also participate in making those decisions because they are part of the team that owns the feature. They can prepare test plans and spot problems early, and it very much helps with the involvement, with the feeling of being part of the team, and it eases the communication within the team. And the daily work in that Scrum is, aside from ordinary testing and ordinary QA's responsibilities, is one of the first things every day is checking for the latest changes. So QA team needs to use repository or just speak with the rest of the team during the daily meeting. They should seek possible side effects of the latest changes, and if there is a new mechanic or visuals introduced, they should get familiar with that and update test cases if necessary, because maintaining and keeping these tools up to date is crucial for the project. And they should also check the statuses of the issues that they reported. This is fulfilling getting things done principle, so they should know in what phase is the issue. They should gather info how the problem was solved, if it was solved, and double check it, of course. And also they should provide additional info for the rest of the team, like reproduction steps or frequency of the bug or any other needed things like logs, like special cases to test, etc., etc. QA also needs to be responsive every day. It is crucial to keep the flow of the work and to keep things smooth, because sometimes your half an hour can save a few hours of another person's work. So first of all, the QA team knows the game best. They play it every day, basically. So there can be requests for feedback. There can be requests for quick checks for setting up certain levels, certain stage, and to test small things. They are not disruptions. They are inherited within quality assurance daily work. And later in the production, it is also important for the QA. It is also QA's responsibility to day by day monitor support, monitor the community, and work with release managers to properly test the setup of the game and the game on the store. Sometimes they work also with the marketing team. They set up certain stage that the marketing team is going to record gameplay, for example. Those are the things outside their usual work. And that would be all. I hope that I somehow made it clearer how we see the quality assurance, how we solved our main problems with quality assurance in the past. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer them. These are our emails. If you want to ask something in particular, please write me or Ola an email. And thank you very much. See you soon.